Hello, everyone, and welcome to this 9th Collective Intelligence Block Party. We've been hanging for a little bit, just starting to record now, and I want to welcome everyone here. Emery from Montreal, Canada, and Brett from England, and Dot. I forget where Dot's from. Anyway, she can tell us if she feels like it, and Nolan. And welcome everyone, and welcome to those who are watching this recording later or who will watch it live streaming. We're live streaming on Twitch. Apparently we got booted out of live streaming on YouTube because of probably repeated mentions of coronavirus, and they're kind of clamping down on people talking about that so that fake news, etc., doesn't get out, whatever the case. But anyway, we are live streaming on Twitch and recording, and we'll publish this on YouTube. Well, let me give everyone an opportunity to say hello if you'd like. Good morning, whatever updates you have. And of course, we can do that as we go. So this is certainly not your last chance to say hello, world. But before I get into the heart of the matter of collective superintelligence and saving life on Earth, I'll let you guys say hello, whoever wants to.
Good morning from Montreal, Emery. Glad to be here for the ninth block party. Well, ready and willing.
Beautiful, Emery. Emery, I think you've been at every single block party, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm like a cat. I got 9 lives here.
Well, hopefully a lot more than that. Alrighty. All right. So I'd like to screen share and share a little bit about, or a lot bit about what I've been working on. Let me just provide a little bit of context. So what we're going to look at is a topic map. And the idea of the topic map, one of the ideas of the topic map is to provide kind of some core pillar topics that are important for us to master within the general framing and context of applying collective superintelligence to save life on Earth, to solve our problems. And the first thing I want to say is that the topic map I'm about to share, it's only the beginning, and it will grow and expand from there. And I'll talk about areas for expansion. And the second thing is that it kind of represents, Jamin's view of reality as regards all these topics. Oh, it looks like Cesari's here. Perfect timing. Cesari, welcome. Welcome. Cesari, how you doing? Cesari, your timing is perfect because I'm just about to share something which was largely inspired by you. Certainly the what to do with it is inspired by you and how it can play in. So welcome, and really great to have everyone here. I kind of prefer that there's just a half a dozen of us here now, and it's kind of nice to have this sort of intimate gathering. So I was talking about this topic map. So the topic map, very much in the Cesari framework of Agora, it's very much my view of reality. This is Jamin's view of reality. And part of the logic here in the topic map is, let's say Emery had a slightly different view. We agreed maybe on 70%, but 30% we didn't agree. Emery might start with my topic map, delete what he doesn't agree with, and add what he does want to see there. And he'd say, okay, hello world, here's Emery's view of the world, and let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation. And this gets to the kind of multidimensional part of ideas and topics and all that. So we'll see in a moment. But the second thing I want to say is, think of these kind of core pillar topics that I'm about to show as precisely that. They're pillars. And meaning that around them and in between them, we can build conversations. So a conversation might span 5 different topics or 25 different topics, right? So think of these as kind of anchoring pillars, right? Foundational topics, if you prefer. All right, without further ado, I'm going to screen share. And Nolan, can you see on the participants thing when somebody is like in the waiting room? I can probably see it even though I've screen shared, but just as a backup. If anybody sees anybody.
Make me a co-host, but I'm not a co-host right now.
You want me to do that?
Sure.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, and Brett, I'll wait for you, no problem. Brett's going to be right back. And how do I make you co-host? Do I have to screen share first? Or no?
No, you just click on the ... in the upper right corner of my box.
Oh, okay, okay. Make co-host. Okay. You are co-host. And if in doubt, just, I say we don't let him in if in doubt, or at least let's check in because, anyway. All right. Okay, I'll wait till Brett gets back per his request. In the meantime, any questions or comments before I screen share about topic maps? So I'll just share a little more about kind of where I'm coming from. Hey, Brett, welcome back. You ready for screen share? Okay, awesome. All right. Okay, let's take a look at this topic map. Alrighty. Okay, so the first thing I want to point out is that on the left-hand side, you see how this whole map here is divided into 5 different horizontal layers. And the column on the far left is like what the layers are about. So root causes here at the bottom, all this is root causes. I'm just going to actually go silent for about a minute and let folks just sort of take a look, because it's kind of self-explanatory, and just get your first impressions, and then we'll talk in a minute. All right. So And if anyone has any questions or comments, don't hesitate to jump in, especially since I can't see you, since I'm focused on the screen share. I'll just trust you to jump in. And if Dot writes something, Nolan, would you be good enough to read? Or whoever is available. So starting on the left column, what are kind of the major categories of topics? Root causes of what? Of world problems. And I've got 2 layers of world problems: chronic world problems, just ongoing, and then acute, ones that really represent absolute imminent threats to our wellness and our viability. And we've got some pretty major ones up on the board here. And then beyond problems, next layer up is solutions, not just any kind of solutions, but mega solutions. Big problems call for big solutions. We certainly have big problems. Big is an understatement. We need, mega is more the word. So we have mega problems, we need mega solutions. And again, these are like categories of solutions. So triple C is but one solution within that category, but I show it here as just kind of an example, right? And then finally at the top, meta solution. Meta solution. If solutions are the golden eggs, then, in fact, I should probably put a golden egg there in these hands. It's almost like the goose lays it and the hands catch it. Not a bad metaphor. Looks like we've got something in the chat, but I can't see it, so feel free to read, whoever would like.
Dot says, I don't think overpopulation is a problem. We need to go from a culture of extraction and exploitation to one where we add to our ecosystems positively.
Yeah. I generally agree that it's not, well, I think it is a problem, and certainly happy to discuss it. But I also want to validate Dot's point that it's certainly not our biggest problem. In fact, the going on 8 billion people we have can be a major asset. We as a whole can be a major asset to the planet, much as a large ant colony can be a major asset to a forest. But anyway, point well taken. Thank you, Dot. So back to the goose that lays the golden egg. So if solutions are golden eggs, metaphorically, the meta solution is the goose which lays the golden eggs, and that's what collective superintelligence is. And you can see I've got 3 topics under, I'm just going to go topic by topic just to kind of unpack and see if there's any questions or quick comments, so we can just get clarity on the various topics. So we have, in the category of meta solution, which is basically collective superintelligence, there's collective superintelligence itself, the topic in the middle. What is it? And, that's what that topic is there for. Urgency and criticality of collective superintelligence. For me, this is a super important topic because when I talk about collective superintelligence, some people just totally get it and say, oh my God, yes, we need that now, urgently. And other people are like, oh, well, that's nice. This is really to address those who say, oh, that's nice. Well, it's beyond nice. I believe it's urgent for our survival. But now back to my earlier point and the comparison with Cesari's Agora platform. This is like, hey, this is Jamin's view of the world. If you have a different view, hey, feel free to take this view, use what you want, reuse it, delete what you don't like, and add what you like, et cetera, et cetera. So this is a very Jamin-centric view of the world. And I also like the fact that I've gotten it down to one screen. Now, there will be other categories to add and lots more to add, but this is kind of like perhaps my home screen, if you will. I mean, there are lots of slides, for example, on collective superintelligence. A lot more to say about all these topics, in fact. But anyway, this is the initial map. And then journey to CSI. Well, we're on that journey right now. In fact, this 24-hour collective intelligence block party, for me, is the single biggest vector in my quiver for that journey. But notably, we're not the only ones in the game. There's lots of other people working on collective superintelligence. And how do we turn these smaller journeys in terms of numbers of people into one big caravan, if that's indeed what we want? Anyway, enough on CSI. Any questions about Meta Solution or CSI before I forge ahead?
Yeah, Jamin, how do you reach out to these other solutionaries? They're doing the similar processes that we're involved in. I mean, eventually we have to reach out to them, come together a little bit more, find a little more unity among all the different groups.
Yeah. Well, couple points on that, Emery. First of all, most of the solutionaries out there are focused on one solution or another. Or occasionally you'll find people who are working on 2 or 3 solutions in combination. One of the things that sets us apart is that we're looking at the full spectrum of solutions and of problems and of meta solution and root causes. I mean, this for me seeks to be kind of a homepage for reality as a whole. So I kind of look at solutionaries sort of in 2 groups. There are the solutionaries who are working on specific solutions, and this would be the second row here, right? All these different mega solutions, and of course, many more. And just to be clear, these 5 categories of mega solutions, obviously they speak for themselves, but they're certainly not spanning by any stretch of the total set of solutions. And that way, this is a catch-all. This mega solutions topic on the far left is a catch-all for anything that's not covered in these specific categories. But back to my point in answer to your question, Emery, is there's really 2 kinds of solutionaries. Those who are focused on specific solutions, one or more within this set, like take Vegan World 2026, they're laser focused on veganism. Another class of solutionaries are those focused on the meta solution, right? Like, what's it going to take for us to get our collective heads screwed on properly so that we can generate and implement and come to agreement, come to consensus, and therefore cooperate, etc. So I kind of see the top 2 layers as very different kind of realms. But in terms of how do we connect with all of them, because ultimately we'd love to connect with all of them, my view on that is a lot of these folks are just kind of starting to figure out who they are and how they want to play in the whole. And a big motivation, I'm going to go off screen share for a second just so I can see folks. But a big motivation for the collective intelligence block party is just, let's all get together and just talk about what each of us brings to the table. And Brett and Cesare are prime examples. I mean, like textbook examples, if I was writing a textbook of, these are the folks I'm looking for as regards each one is working on or has worked extensively on their own platform or their group's platform. So, let's get all these. I use this analogy over and over. I'd love it if people would raise their hand and say whether they've heard of this or not. How many people have heard of the Homebrew Computer Club going back to the 1970s in the Silicon Valley? So the Homebrew Computer Club, I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area. So I grew up north of the Silicon Valley on the East Bay, north of Berkeley, for those who are familiar. And in the Silicon Valley to the south, where We have relatives and lots of family, friends, and whatnot. So lots of contact. Obviously, that's the heart of the computer industry. And it's been a technological hub. It's going back to, I think, even the 50s, maybe even World War II or something like that. But really in the 60s and 70s, it really started its hyper growth trajectory. And in the early 70s, before personal computers even existed in any form, this homebrew computer club started. Um, and first of all, you got to admire the name, right? I mean, if that doesn't scream inclusivity, right? But it's kind of a nerdy inclusivity. And so these folks would get together, and really what made the Homebrew Computer Club really famous is that it's where Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak met. Steve Wozniak was demoing some of the stuff he was doing with graphics and all that. And this is all garage, tinkering kind of stuff. But out of that, Apple was born. Okay. So one of my visions, or perhaps even my main vision for the collective intelligence block party, is that we turn this into a form of, homebrew computer club for collective intelligence, right? And so here I am, a wannabe Steve Wozniak, showing my wares. Anyway, let me go back to screen sharing. So, but anyway, yeah. So this gets to the question Emery was asking. Sorry, I'll go back to video. I just want to check in with Emery. Does that answer your question, Emery? And what do you think about that?
What do I think about it? Well, I just find that like most of those the groups that exist right now, I mean, we're all connected to some, like there's a lot of overlap,
Yeah.
already. And like I'm wondering that whether how evident it is to the groups that overlap really is something that should bring us together, and not just go on your own. Like, I mean, it'd be easier if we could unite a little bit more than what we are now. I mean, we're trying to do that, right? Through our pages and the broadcasts that we're doing and social media outlets that we're using, but it doesn't seem like it's enough, and it's not moving fast enough. I wonder why.
Yeah. Let's. I want to talk about that. I also want to take a look at what Brett wrote. He wrote notes to remind myself. Emery's question, WOCC.
You can ignore that, Jamin. I need a place in real time to be able to remind myself. I'm sorry.
No problem at all. No, and I appreciate your using the chat for that, because that way you're kind of thinking out loud for us.
Yeah, I don't want to have a separate notebook. So my part of me, if everyone, I guess, in our little group here, if you see notes to myself, you can kind of just don't worry about them.
No, but actually, I would like to invite everyone to do what Brett's doing. Do your out loud thinking. Just feel free to dump your notes there. That's super cool. I think that's a great idea.
I do want to say something quick, if you don't mind, Jamin,
Okay.
in relation to Imre's questions and your comments. Our project and work has been in this space for quite a while on the meta solutions level, if I had to put us in a sector, because our main intention is to create the necessary and sufficient conditions, up to put it lightly, for all of those solutions to be able to work as a whole system. And then the platform for that, or the innovation for that, is sort of a mega solution, I guess, or it's a meta solution. It's like somewhere there, because there's actually an innovation, but that innovation is so concerned with coordinating and communicating and synergizing all of the pieces that it's therefore like a meta solution, at least meta solution oriented. But the point I wanted to mostly relate to was the common question of urgency. compared to, I don't know what the other hand of that is, sort of like divine timing, I would call it, and urgency, or non-urgency, but I don't like that. So I'm making a different dichotomy of like urgency and divine timing. um, and I just wanted to resonate, Jamin, my on the ground experience rather than just mental feedback or mental knowledge, is that it is the case from an evolutionary perspective that many people and projects are needing to get their own feet and get on the ground with their own visions and their own coherence, because people have tried to do the urgent thing. So Imri, I've been in these spaces a million times, whether a group of 3 people or a group of 100 people, where everyone's like, it's urgent, we have to co-create, we have to stop being redundant, we have to stop doing this. Everyone knows that conceptually. I believe there's like a spiritual, psychological, evolutionary principle also at hand, which relates to things like emergence and novelty, which are sort of cutting edge sciences, really, when you get into cybernetics and information theory. Co-creation itself also, to me, being an art and a science, which is, I think, something that we're going to bring into the space, really. One of our mentors was Barbara Marx Hubbard, and she was a sort of expert in co-creation of channeling it, but she was not very good at actually doing it, which is ironic. So that's another lesson about what people speak about compared to what they do, what they're capable of doing compared to what they're sort of channeling. But anyway, that is my experience, Jamin, that projects cannot truly co-create or come into a whole system orientation if they themselves are not coherent, ready, mature enough. And that's a very big spectrum of what it means to be mature enough or ready enough. But as a general principle, I couldn't agree more that that convergence of these projects and people and solutions have a natural timing, and also on the along the lines of urgency. Yeah, we're all doing it. Like, we're all in the midst of it now. Everyone feels the urgency. And then there is that other hand that is, you can't force evolution per se. I mean, you can try, like a transhumanist, to maybe manipulate everything or something, to take a little dig at some transhumanists. But there is there is a natural unfolding, and in my experience anyway. And of course, there's many things we can all do to try to basically throw some catalyzing juice or DNA into that thing to try to push it as much as we possibly can. So I think that's, like you're saying, Jamin, what we're pretty much in the middle of. And later on, I want to just read something that Barbara Marx Hubbard wrote about something she called golden innovations, because I think they describe that golden egg you're talking about there. And it's nice to bring some of her work, because her work on that level is totally 50 years ahead of its time, completely visionary. So and she's a mentor, was a mentor of ours. So I'll read that when it's an appropriate time.
Yeah. Whenever you feel like it, I totally trust you to jump in as often as you want, and with whatever you want to read or share. You are one of my favorite people, Brett, and so grateful for you. Emery, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, I personally, I find it really difficult to keep up with everything. That's my dilemma. Is that I'm very geared to be part of a lot of the solution oriented effort that's happening, but to be efficient and productive, one needs to really know your stuff. You got to know what's happening in that area, one area, and another area. Like, it's, you can't just go in there with an empty gun, and an empty pockets. You gotta have something to offer, and that's the problem, is to keep up with everything. There's just so much. It's tremendous. There's a tremendous amount, and all very, very um, very thought provoking stuff, very important, very intelligent things happening in a lot of areas, in these groups. And yeah, I just wish I could be in 1,000 places at the same time.
I just wanted to say, Jamin, I think that's also a good topic for a future conversation, like a dedicated hour in a way, or whatever at some point, because I actually have a lot of thoughts on that. I don't want to go off on a tangent, but I just, first of all, it is impossible, like to literally keep up with everything. Like you're saying, it would be literally impossible. Like, so co-creation, why I often talk about co-creation and a next level version of that is quite a lot about finding your right place and your right skills and your right purpose and your right gifts. And as Barbara called it, a unique self symphony. All of us are instruments in that unique self symphony, and the software and processes and architectures and things that we're working on in our work are help to facilitate people in doing that and educating people, and also having a container kind of infrastructure that not only when you know what you're good at or what you want to learn or what you love to do, there's also a way to go about doing that, rather than just being like, oh great, I know what I'm passionate about and I know what I love and I know I've got 10 hours a week. But that's not, people want more than that. They want to have teams available and quests available that they can join and bring those gifts to. And we want those quests to all be working with the other quests. So it's very complicated and sophisticated, like the thing we're all trying to do in a way. So that's why it's also taking so much time, really, and it's evolutionary, because it's no small matter. We're trying to organize for peace, as they say, as others organize for war. And in order to do what kind of needs to be done, it's not going to be a flyby thing. It's quite sophisticated, actually, with a lot of moving pieces. So I think rightfully so, it's taking the time it takes. But it's a great inquiry, Imre, and nobody could keep up with it. Like, so there has to be a better solution than trying to keep up with it. Thank
Yes, Emery, go for it.
Yeah, I think we need that. We need to be put into a bot, you know, so our could send out our bots, you know, like we were talking about last time with Steve.
Yeah, I used to think along the lines of, okay, there's got to be just this great way that we can put everyone together and all come together, and and I was dreaming of that for years, and then in January, the idea just flashed at us, and I'm just going to pause for literally 5 seconds. All right, we're recording again. And it was like, you know what? Let's just put together the grungiest, most organic, dirtiest, smelliest freaking block party and just tell everyone, listen, we're no geniuses, but we do know that we all need to do collective intelligence. Can we agree on that? And then like a big cheer / burp / barf as people say, yeah, So bring your 32-ounce bottle of Colt 45, bring your bong, bring your whatever, right? And let's just get together and freaking mash it up. And, somebody bring your scratch DJ whatever turntable. Let's get some speakers going and let's just party it up. And that's kind of exactly what we're doing here. Anyway, a second thought I have on that is, let's imagine that each of us is a Lego block. And the goal, metaphorically, is that we create this beautiful structure out of Lego blocks where each of us is in the place we need to be. I totally share Emery's frustration. This Lego block, I want to know about every other Lego block, right? But imagine that per Brett's impossibility principle, that it's impossible to know about every other Lego block. What if each of us just focused on being in the right position and doing the right thing that we need to do, and focus on making sure that our nipples on top and our orifices on the bottom, right? If you'll pardon the wording, are ready for this massive orgy that we need to get in. And maybe that's another good metaphor, because rather than me saying, oh, I need to have, my fingers and whatever in every single whatever, right? Maybe I just need to hold my position in the circle and, get impacted from where I need to get impacted and do my impacts. But really, it just becomes a near neighbor kind of thing. I would reference some specific works of art, but I don't think that's appropriate here. But that's kind of the thing, the Lego block framework. Don't try to know about every other block. Just know your position. And for me, and I would say for us, and great. And Brett says that's super sex, another gem from Barbara. Yeah, totally love it. We are sexual beings, so let's get it on. And so is that part of me wants to be out there trying to find out about all this other stuff. But a bigger part of me is just being disciplined and saying, no, I am actively refusing to go into all these million rat holes every week. But instead, I'm going to freaking hold my ground, right? I'm the block party dude, or a block party dude. I'm also a solution club dude and a radish dude. And this is what I need to focus on. And I kind of have faith that the other Lego blocks will find their places. Anyway, just love everything everyone's saying. Really good stuff.
That's another key one. Trust. Trust is a part of the evolutionary process and co-creation, and it's not trust that we're used to talking about as well. Like I trust the milkman to bring the milk on Sunday. It's kind of a different frequency, but that's another part of surrender, I think, and trust in learning your limitations and your expansion. Blah blah blah. So resonate with that too, Jamin. I'll read the definition of super sex from Barbara Marx Hubbard. The passion to express unique creativity, stimulated by vocational arousal, comparable to sexuality at the next level. Instead of joining genes to procreate, we join genius to co-create, to give birth to our greater self and to our work in the world.
I love it. Emery, I see that you got your hand up. If I'm not interrupting, Brett, I just want to add to that I've often described these broadcast recorded video conferences as intellectual pornography, because we're getting out there and doing something that we normally do in private. We have these private conversations where we share and we have a beer and we share and it's all that, but it's private and, per Cesare, disposable. But here we're actually being recorded doing the thing, right? Anyway, Emery, you got your hand up. Go for it.
Yeah, I was just gonna comment on the Lego block analogy. I mean, I could see the Lego blocks, but there are so many different sizes and different shapes and different kinds of blocks that one needs to construct something, and the whole idea, I think, should be to be able to have some kind of a way to measure those blocks and parts of those blocks, like the nipples and like the fitting underneath, and to see whether at the end of the day you're going to be able to fit those things together, so it's a lot of work. It's a lot of time invested in doing all that, So, but I got nothing else to do. I'm doing my best, So, and apart from that, one needs to live, right? And do things that bring you joy and fun, right? So it's not all, it's, what can I say? It's complicated.
Totally. Good stuff, Emery. Welcome, James. Great to see you, James. You got your hand up? Go for it. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Sorry. Hi, everybody. Anyway, just in response to what Emery said, Emery, just imagine all those little Lego blocks of all the different shapes and sizes. As we do imagine Lego blocks, they're lifeless bits of plastic. But imagine if all those different shapes were able to start communicating and decided that they wanted to build one particular shape. Then once they're communicating, they'll all figure out where the little bits and pieces need to go to build the shape that they want. And that's what we're doing, really. Like, we're starting to communicate, and figure out what the plan is, and then figure out how to get the plan. So all those different shapes will eventually slot in together once they start to communicate.
Exactly. What a great conversation. And I just want to point out that, like, this group of 7 of us, what a great combination for this conversation we're having now. You know, going back a few weeks ago, I was like, okay, how do we get more people to come to the block party? More. And then I finally let go and said, wait a second, you know, you can't, just like you can't speed up a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. You just got to be patient. Same here. And, you know, so I'm just really focusing on sticking to my knitting, which I invite you to make your own knitting. I mean, to be a part of our knitting, as well as do your own knitting. Anyway, I think enough said on that. I'm going to screen share, but pipe in everybody. And when somebody pipes in, I'll go off screen share so we can all see each other. So back to the screen share. What we've been talking about for me is this far upper right icon, journey to collective superintelligence, right? It's a whole pathway to get there. And per the Lego block analogy, and becoming aware of these other Lego blocks to form collective superintelligence, and then build all the other pieces, solutions, etc. It's I'm going to go back to video. It seems like a good analogy to me is like a big construction site where they're building some massive skyscraper, right? And there's all these different teams roaming around working on different parts of the construction site at any given time, or preparing for some big steel I-beams and whatnot to arrive and go to the appropriate staging area and get prepped and measured and QC and all that. But there's always, certainly for a skyscraper, there's like a central, you know, planning function, right? A project management function. For a big skyscraper, that might have dozens to hundreds of people just in that function alone. And in a way, that's one of the things that I'm trying to be a part of, right, through these different venues and so I guess an analogy would be, we're like a bunch of aliens who land on this planet, and we arrive in New York City. There's no humans. There's the beginning of a skyscraper, and our mission is to complete it. But there's no plan, right? Whatever humans started this, they're now long gone, and we have bits and pieces and scraps of plans, right, from, you know, generations past, shall we say. And so here we are kind of doing a block party around the construction site saying, can we make something of this? I think we can. How do we do it, right? So, you know, anyway, that's kind of where I'm coming from with the block party as a contribution to this. It's recognizing the chaos, recognizing the lack of leadership, and saying, all right, well, rather than declare myself emperor and say, hey, everyone, listen to me. I tried that before, and you can guess how well that worked. We're just saying, hey, nobody's got the answer, so let's all get together and bring our respective bottles of malt liquor and just party it up and see what we can organically figure out just in conversation. Brett, go for it.
Jamin, I just wanted to invite you, and this goes for everybody, but I'm speaking to you, Jamin, at the moment because of the way you were describing the planning function and your interest in that. And that's also the caveat of how busy you are with the calls, and then I'm sure you have to rest for at least one day, possibly more, in between. So I don't have any expectations, but I want to re-invite you to check out the documents from our project. I sent you a link in your email to a Dropbox folder on your own time. It doesn't really matter when it is. There's now a 10-page summary in there, which is much quicker and easier to read. And then there's sort of a full-length description, so to say, which you would take time, but the summary is there now, which is better for most people. One, because I kind of need you to know what we're up to, because it's so resonant and it has so many of all the pieces you're talking about. And when we get a little further along, it'll be easier for you and everyone to participate with us. It's just been in the birth. It's still like in the womb, our thing, the whole analogy. Like, I'm dying for it to get out of the birth canal so the village can raise the system, I would say, right? Instead of that's our baby. And until it's out of that womb, it's like we're still have the founder syndrome kind of thing. You know, like it's like we're kind of managing it and controlling it. But the point is, once it comes out, it has an infrastructure and like DNA that means everyone is part of it, and it's more, democratized, the thing. So anyway, I really would love for you to see that sometime, but don't worry about when. Yeah, that's what I wanted to share, and I'm publicly wanted to thank Imri for making a video. He, on his own inspiration, took some footage of me off YouTube and made this kind of art video with me in it, and I freaking love it. It's so cool and fun and nice and super embarrassing because he's got me singing, because that's like my bigger dream really is to be a rock star. And I mean, because I love music, not for the adulation. Like, I just love music, but he's got me actually singing on there, and my wife said I was blushing. I was reading it. Singing is not my strong point, but yeah, Emery. So thank you, my friend. So just as also to highlight a connection in the group, Jamin, as well, in the community, like how people are just friendly and coming together even. So I really loved that video that you made for me, Emery, on many levels, just for me, but I thought it was actually kind of really nice looking with the colors and the and everything. So thanks, man.
Very happy to have done that for you, man. Love it, love it, and hopefully you make good use of it, like you were talking about the other day. So, and check out the Lennon one I did there. It rains in strawberry fields. The one I did for you kind of like led to that one. Check it out.
I will. I'm in good company. Thank you.
Awesome stuff. Oh my goodness. Well, you see, look how just in this conversation and in all of our conversations, we learn about each other and we start connecting, and it's just, so this is just a perfect example of that. Alrighty, I'm going to go back to screen share and reiterate my request that everyone just jump in when you have something to say. Don't wait to be called upon, because I can't see hands going up right now.
Oh, Jamin, yeah.
Yes.
On
Yes.
that note, for another time, the only thing that's missing for me on that chart, because I don't want to debate all the little, I don't like getting into the minutia. Of course, it could say different things. Of course, there could be other things. There's only one thing I would say I would like to see somehow more represented, and that's health. Like health and wellness. Like, so not just political and economy, but health. That's a major node for me. Like, not just politics and economics. It's health, like the health industry, the health well-being. It relates to consciousness and separate, but that's the only thing I would say put a nod in there somewhere on one of those levels. But other than that, I love it as a starting point. And we're just going to invite you to go back to the journey part and just remind us what you're onto with that, because you know, recontextualize the journey part of that slide and where you're going with that.
Totally. So back to it. So first of all, just a quick comment on health. I kind of have hunger in here as, in a way, a stand-in for health. Because, I mean, in this picture, what that little girl needs is nourishment. She doesn't need a yoga retreat. She doesn't, there's a bunch of stuff she doesn't need. What she does need is nourishment. And, food first, that's kind of the first starting point. And because so much of health is dependent upon nourishment, and so much health is destroyed from
Okay.
lack of nutrition. But
You
again,
were frozen, Jamin. You actually froze when you first started talking about hunger as being a stand-in for health.
oh, okay. Thanks for that heads up. I'll screen share again. Okay. How about now? Am I okay now? Okay. All right. I'll assume I'm being heard. So hunger as a stand-in for health. There's really, think of that, imagine that's like a playing card. There's a whole deck underneath the hunger card, and hunger is just at the top of the deck, because until we get that right, there's so many other aspects of health that are just not relevant until a human being is nourished, right? And then another thing I want to add is that of acute, this is sort of the catch-all for everything that's not listed here. And like, let me just give another example of something that I think is missing from here is the divine feminine. And I was talking about this with Melissa yesterday. The closest thing to that, and perhaps something that could contain that, is a new story for humanity. Well, a new story for humanity could contain a lot of things. And the bottom line is there's just a whole bunch missing from this page 1 of the map. And in fact, I want to talk about some of the, I started listing things yesterday that are missing and that could be subsequent slides to this deck. But we'll get to all that. And then back to the journey. So the journey as I see it, it's such a fascinating question. And this gets back to the Legos and the Lego orgy, is that maybe I'll talk about what I think my journey or our journey, because everyone's welcome to be on my journey with me. It's not my journey, it's our journey. So we can journey together. But the journey that I'm participating in, maybe that's the way to say it, the journey that I'm participating in along with all of you and many others, as I see the journey is, and it's kind of like if a bunch of us are going on a hike, we could be going on the hike for different reasons, but we're all fundamentally on the same hike. We're one group. Just a footnote there. So my purpose on the hike that we're all on is that we create perhaps an oversimplified, rudimentary collective superintelligence framework that can grow organically, and then as it connects with other lily pads that it's supposed to be connecting with, it can then be, perhaps the word is assimilated into a larger collection of lily pads. So my portion of the journey, just to speak in the I and not to presuppose too much about the we, though I'd prefer to say we. I think I'll just say we. Our journey is build this basic framework, and I'll talk more about that in literally about 1 minute. Build out the basic framework, start using it, start sharing it, broadcasting it, sharing it here on the block party. And if it's, quote unquote, the right framework for this time and place, then great, it'll grow. And if it's not, I pray someone will show up here and say, hey, you guys, nice try. But there's this other group that's doing a much better job at it. Why don't you join them? And so my bottom line is we all need to merge, but along the way to get there, now I'll talk about this kind of basic framework, this kind of starter kit for collective superintelligence. The starting point for the starter kit, well, the starting point happened years ago, and it started with all these conversations and development, which has led us here. So the stage that we're at now actually leverages this map and actually the larger concept of map, topic map, where this does not pretend to be the be-all end-all, but just an example. But mapping period, creating topic maps generally. And having said that, if we can build consensus around a given map and say, you know what, this is good enough to start with, that topic map is one layer of a collective superintelligence. That the starter kit, as I see it, has 3 layers. One layer is this, the topic map. A second layer can easily be confused with the topic map, but it's really a separate layer, and it overlays on top of the topic map. So, for example, imagine that, I hope everyone can see my mouse. I'm right in the place in between Triple C, veganism, the woolly mammoth, and the hunger image. In the middle of those 4, imagine that we have a conversation that says, here's how we're going to leverage Triple C to provide the funding to purchase all this vegan food, deliver it, and and therefore end hunger. But in the process of getting the world to go vegan, we'll halt or slow down the destruction of the biosphere, even reverse it, right? So that's an example of a conversation that spans all 4 of these topics. Everybody see that? So as such, this conversation, if I had to put it somewhere on the map, I'd maybe put it here where I'm moving my mouse. Imagine a red dot appearing right there. Bam, there's a conversation. And likewise, imagine red dots appearing all over the map of different conversations. And so just like, a map of a country shows cities and towns and all that, perhaps these conversations are like, organic farms popping up in between various cities and towns. And it's a separate layer because it's conversations that bring together different topics and create essentially a new perspective that's not contained within any one given topic. And so the reason I said this can easily be confused with the topic map is that a given conversation, in fact, constitutes a topic in its own right. It's its own sort of mashup topic, right? And so topics and conversations can easily be confused, and I'm just trying to unconfuse them. But anyway, so we got 2 layers. We got a topic map. We have conversations located on the map. And when I say a conversation, what I really mean is a series of conversations that, happen, say, once a week, so that it's ongoing. And then the third layer, and I want to create some graphics for this, but the third layer is people, because it takes people to make a conversation. I'm going to go off screen share for a second. And so if you imagine these 3 layers, topic map, that just gives us our general framework, framing, and our bearing. And let's assume that we're now 3 weeks into this process and that we've all reached consensus. And you know what? Okay, we all love the topic map, right? And we're all like, yes, this represents everything I want it to represent. We're good to go. Then we start building conversations at specific locations on the map, connecting to the various topics that sort of feed it or provide it foundation, right? And so we then have this growing network of conversations populated by people who are polyamorous, building on our theme, who can then go from conversation to conversation. And the conversations are really like the metaphor of flowers, that each conversation is like a flower that keeps growing, growing, growing upward with time. And at any given moment, you have different combinations of bumblebees, different combinations of humans operating on that flower, developing the conversation, forwarding the conversation. And what I've just described with topic map, conversations located on that map, and people populating those conversations, that right there constitutes the basics of my vision of collective superintelligence. And so, you know, voila, go for it, Brett. Oh, you're on mute, Brett.
Jamin, if there's only one thing in this world that can stop me from talking, it's the mute button. I need the cosmic mute button for some people will need for me. um, whether now or in a few minutes or next week, I want to show you the new map prototype. One, because I got a version of it back online, which of course can crash any moment, but in the moment it's online. I think we could use it as, at minimum, a sandbox to look at and then have this conversation while we're looking at it, because I have to believe it would give you more inspiration and also give you some visual abilities to communicate what you're communicating. And then I can also create a few changes to it or create a map that would help you talk about your vision there a little bit differently. So that will all make sense once I show you. Then it's like better than talking about it.
I love the idea. In fact, as I was creating this map and thinking about the 3 different layers, I was thinking, you know what? I bet new map would be perfect for this, because you've got the whole lines of people and conversations and all that. Well, we're just talking about different layers of different types of whole lines.
It's perfect art. It's perfect structurally and conceptually. Of course, like I said, it's a prototype, so it's not perfect. As in, like if we all just jumped on Kumo or something at the moment, but conceptually, yeah, and structurally and ideologically, it is 120,000 million% perfect. You know, for what you're talking about. And then the other exciting news for me, finally. So I told some people, like basically our prototype was offline. I got tired of paying for it because our funds are low and we had some transition in our space with our project, and our tech visionary is doing his own thing in a different space right now. So I didn't have someone that can fix it when it, you know, stops working. But the good news is I talked to an Amazon specialist yesterday through a friend who is going to assess for free the old instances we have. I got them transferred from our tech visionary. So I've got my own Amazon like server with those actual instances in my own grasp. And I have a guy who's going to assess, like, are they able to just get relaunched again, or does he need to learn the code? You know, like what is the kind of situation? And then he also is some kind of a scout ambassador tech startup thing. And he said there's a grant that he can probably get where his company can keep, basically launch it and keep it up, and like on the server side of things, like basically manage it for the year and get it paid for with that grant, so I don't have to actually pay for the EC2 monthly cost. So that was really a positive, exciting. I'm happy about that, which makes it easier for me to then, the next step, which I've mentioned, is find a few developers who are willing to possibly look into helping us. It could even be a call out from the block party as a specific use case. Find a couple Node.js, JavaScript, whatever developers to actually start working on a fork of it or an instance, you know, as a sandbox that can actually provide you more of a use case scenario, Jamin, that will make it easier and easier for people to understand why, what you're doing, what we want to do, and why people should come and volunteer, you know, to code and to try to help take it from prototype to like a beta or something. So there's a lot we could talk about there, but that's just like an update that I've got this instance back online now because it's on my friend's server, and I'm trying to get the old instance back up and running again, which has a database already in it, which is why I want it back, because it has like information already in it. Compared to this other instance I have, it's got very little bit of data in it because it's a separate database. So none of it's right. It all needs to be built on holochain and decentralized, but it is a very good demonstration tool, inspiration, use case kind of tool. So um, I'll shut up now, see who wants to do whatever, and then maybe if it's a good time, I'll just share the visual of it so you can get an idea.
Love it, love it, love it. In fact, let me share a little more about the vision of this map and the layers and all that. And then I'd love to hand it over to you, Brett, to screen share and show us new map. And let's just keep mashing it up until we converge. It feels like we're getting close to convergence, which is super exciting. So back to screen share, just for a couple more minutes. Let's see here. So, okay. So now imagine that we're looking at kind of like the 50,000 foot level. And as we zoom in, let's say we zoom in around the topic of collective superintelligence, we would see that just like when you zoom in on Google Earth. At first, you just see a dot for Delhi, India, and then you zoom in, and now it's like, whoa! Clearly, there's like a whole bunch more going on here than just a single dot. It's its own taxonomy right there, and likewise for each and every one of these topics. And so, in the full-blown vision, this map would be dotted with millions of red dots representing specific conversations in and around each of these topics. Each of those conversations is a flower. So again, back to the meadow. So this is like a map of, say, North America or the world, really. And on this map, think of just the world as a giant meadow. And these are just different places on the meadow. And all these flowers pop up in clusters and individually at all different places. And the flowers grow and are cross-pollinated by humans, the conversations, and everything's transcribed and indexed and all the scenarios that we've been talking about. But this finally gives us a map to imagine all this happening. And then anyway, that's all I have to say right now. So I'm happy to turn it over to you, Brett, whenever you're ready. And Brett writes, taxonomy, ontology, and information architecture are huge next pieces for our together life system to be expressed technologically through something like NewMap. All right, beautiful.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to jamming with you and other specialists because we've played with the ideas of all these things, but when it actually is going to get done in such a way that we're all talking about, then taxonomy, ontology, information architecture, like, yes, we can mess around as we keep iterating over the next year, whatever that is, and playing, but ultimately if that stuff, and I'm not an expert in this, I've just noticed that you, Jamin, understand it more deeply than I do. At some point that has to be freaking airtight, as in internally consistent and logical. Like, and I was looking at some sites about these things, like information, and it was like, all these graphs and mind maps about like architecture and stuff, but it's a big important thing. Because when we were playing with NewMap, for instance, we created our own ontologies and our own taxonomies. But if they don't speak to each other, there's not a meta level taxonomy, ontology, information architecture, then you can't really use the information that is being created in vacuums of ontology, taxonomy, whatever. So there's some level of this meta thing that you're talking about that also has to be evolutionary and adapting. So it's a massive piece that I don't quite understand more than I know I need experts. We're going to need a bunch of, like passionate people about that to come into the space. And I'll do the screen share. I'm just going to note for everybody, the thing itself will probably not be called NewMap sooner or later because my wife and I have gone our separate ways from Chris, who was our original partner. And quite frankly, it's not been the nicest conscious divorce that I was hoping for. Nothing unforgivable on a personal level, but it's just whatever. It's not going as smoothly as I would like. And we might just have to ditch all of us completely. We might just leave NewMap behind, like as a name, as an energy. And so like we might be calling it something in the future. It's the same principles of this type of software and all that is still going to be out there, like through us and through Chris and all that. But just as a note, like it may not be called NewMap at some point, even though I very much like that, actually, to be honest. But it might just be the thing that we need to do. So I'm just gonna find out where I put it here. All right. All right. Do you see it?
Yes, we can. Mm-hmm.
All right. Do you see when I'm like my screen from Zoom in your screen share as well? I'm always curious. Or is that just like, do you see me sharing on Zoom?
So I
Or
see.
you,
So 90% of my screen is what you're sharing, and then on the side there's this bar that I can expand. So I can see your face like a little,
all
uh,
right.
others.
All right. So anyway, this is a forked instance of the prototype. What you have here is Barbara Marx Hubbard's Wheel of Co-Creation, which has 12 sectors. So it's kind of a taxonomy tool in a sense, I think, probably, Jamin, on some level. Infrastructure, justice, media, relations, science, spirituality, arts, economics, education, environment, governance. So you can then zoom in to any of those sectors. And I've created, I don't know if it's an ontology or taxonomy anymore, to be honest, Jamin, like what, because it's never been my specialty. All I know is you can map certain things and you can create a gamified or process-oriented thing because every holon type has its own internal structure that you can map into that, and then you can map into that. So like, for instance, inside any of the sectors, you can map an organization, a project right now, a we holon type, which is any collective, or a golden innovation, which is an actual innovation that you might want to offer. So for me, this could be also a map like you created. It doesn't have to be circular in its background. You can create a visualization of all of those sectors that you want to share. And then, for example, we've got conversations that are private chats, first of all, with any amount of people can be in them. But chats, even though they're private between a few people at any given time, they can also be linked at any moment into any other holon. So if there's a chat, Jamin, between you and I in private, just because it started that way, talking about veganism and how we're going to solve that problem, at some point we could just link that chat, which is a copy and paste of that holon that has all of our comments in it, in to anywhere we want. So they would be showing up, like you're saying. In this visualization, it wouldn't be in between spaces. It would be in spaces. Like inside the environment sector, there might be a holon for veganism or a golden innovation to end veganism, and then we'd have a bunch of conversations in there because we're limited at the moment and literally in how we visualize the database. But because it's a holonic database, in the future, obviously you could highlight all the conversations on veganism and show them in a different way, how they're connected, horizontally. You can do anything later. It's important that it's a database in the back end. And then you've got comments down here, just like a Facebook thread, and they can be tagged at this moment with this ontology as a resource, intention, passion, or vision, or an action. So that's a holon type when you're commenting. And they're all individual pieces of information. So again, if someone shares something that would be vital to be known in another topic, you would just say link it, and you would link it and say, where do you want to link this comment, this actual comment? And then that comment itself obviously can have a whole slew of comments related to that. So you can always be building like a fractal kind of conversation. So really, I didn't want to show you more than that. What I want to do is have time, I think this must be a kind of sandbox we can use to think about how we could create some kind of effect that would start highlighting what you're talking about. And for example, if there was 20 people in this holon right now at the same time looking at it, there would be a pink dot circling it for every person. So you always know in real time, you get a sense of how many people are focused on different things. And there's pink dots rotating everywhere. So if this was being used by 10,000 people right now, all of these holons would be kind of glowing in pink. And when someone jumps from one holon to another, their pink dot goes with them. So it kind of is like a real time. And that's like the simplest layer. It doesn't let you connect with them. It's just a presencing sort of thing. So you know what's alive at the moment. And then if people resonate with something, like a like button, it would be a different color. So holons would glow and kind of breathe depending on how many people are in them presently, how many people have resonated with them in the past, things like that. So I think I'm just gonna stop it there. I think we could, sorry, I just lost my, oh, there it is. Stop screen share. Yeah, yeah. So I'm just wondering if we could take your map there somehow and start as a group, and maybe not right away, because again, this could crash and I don't want people to spend thousands of hours. It's not ready for that. just because we don't want to spend thousands of hours mapping things and then have it not be available. But I'm hoping that's coming in the near future, where at minimum, well, the information is never lost. That's the good thing. Like if you put something in there now, it's never going to be lost. It's just a matter of like if the thing crashes, like we have to wait for it to, get fixed to come back up. But technically, the information would always be in that database, which is centralized. Blah blah blah. So people have to do it from the perspective of it's an experiment and don't share their bank accounts and or their Lego escapades or anything like that if they don't want them to be potentially accessible or something. But it's got good privacy right now. You can every hold on has permissions, so who can see it. You know, different people see different things when you come to new map because permissions are there. So the hold on you're looking at is not the same as what everyone else is looking at because they might have different permissions. They might only have access to see 10 of those 12 sectors. That's not a good example, but I'm just saying you would see something different. Um, and you'd have edit privileges, kind of like Wiki or Google Docs. Like some people can edit it, some people can't, things like that. Anyway, thanks for listening. And we'll see if we can come up with something at some point or just use it as a talking piece to help drive home. Because I think we can do what you're talking about, generally speaking, although I do want the developers. So we have different visualizations and other things happening. Thanks.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful, Brett. Thank you. Emery, yes, go ahead. Mhm.
Yeah. Brett, I'll just ask you, I mean, when you're building your whole on, okay, I mean, you're building the foundation. You, like everyone individually will have their own foundation, um, and go about building their foundation in different ways. Um, you've got the initial structure there, but let's say take Jamin's case, he's going to have to lay that out in a manner that fully represents his mapping, right? And then within that mapping, when it's converted into the structure, the foundation of that holon, the one that he's building, okay, it's going to have a number of other holons that's going to be embedded into that structure, into that ongoing structure, right? And so that's very interesting. It's fairly complex too because you're building it and the structure is going to have to be built in a way that it can connect to other people, right? To other people who are also building structures and these holons, and to have the opportunity to give your input into someone else's holon, apart from just a comment, but actually being able to go into the holon and place your added structure, the structure that you are creating to benefit and move forward the one that Jamin's presented, has put forward. So you want to be part of that with your input, right? And your input is within a holon, and that holon also can have many many parts to it. So it's a bit fiddly, I find, but it's you have to know what you're looking for and be able to get there quickly. Not spend your time finicking around.
Yeah, just as a reminder, it's kind of like it's confusing on one hand because it looks good. It looks like a full product in a way. If you just came on and didn't know and it had a tutorial and like some AI saying, well, okay, would you like to do this? And whatever it is, it looks like a full thing, but it's almost only like 1% of a platform, of an idea, despite it being pretty cool and actually quite awesome. Like, to give us credit, it's kind of awesome alone if it just worked better, but it's also like 1% of what is needed. Just like, imagine if you saw Facebook working at only 1%, you wouldn't know what to do with it. You wouldn't know what's going on. You wouldn't know why you're there, or where to look, or anything like that. So it's a little bit confusing because I'm sharing it like in the state of prototype. So in computer software talk, there's people called UX and UI designers, and they're the people that help make it so the user journey of when you log in and use it is intuitive and easy. And that would be the whole next part of the program, of making it work better technologically. But it needs a whole revamp. It needs a team of people for a year to work on the user journey and the design, and get feedback from alpha users and all that to make it more intuitive. You're right. Right now, my wife hates when I show it because she's a software person in the background. She's always like, "Oh, people are going to think it's this," when it's just it's sort of this sandbox sort of prototype. So it really is. I have to to make her feel better. I have to stress, it really is. It's not even it's barely alpha in that sense, because you're right. There's no way to. It's just this open space with these holons. So there's no user journey of like, okay, here's what I'm looking at. If I want to find my friends, I do this. If I want to, it's an anti-social network as well, because there's no timeline where you see like, oh, Imri, it would be way different if you saw a timeline thing right in the middle, like Imri just, mapped an intention, Imri mapped a whatever, and you click on that, and then it would go to your post, and people would respond in a way that we're all like used to. So it's an anti-social network at the moment. You can find other people and other things by searching, but it's not natural. So yeah, it's totally like, you're not off the mark or missing anything. It is simply something to inspire our imaginations and get us accustomed to what's possible, and start dreaming up what upgrades need to be made in order to make it an actual valuable tool. So thanks for your question, and yeah, you're right on. Everyone says the same things. I mean, when they use it that way, it's just like throwing the kitchen sink at someone, and then they don't know what to do with it.
So I have some thoughts as to how we could perhaps proceed, holistically, right? With new map and what we're cooking up here with the conversational domain and all of that, because it's all totally consistent. It's not like there's any part that says, hey, I want to annihilate what you're proposing there and instead do this. It's all very additive. So imagine that we started, bless you, sweetheart. Imagine we started with just a simple, WordPress website with very basic functionality, focused on essentially providing a map of the topics, and then the other layer, the conversations. And multiple conversations could be, so if you zoom in on collective superintelligence, right, and then you see it, be the beginning of its own taxonomy, right there front and center could be new map, right? And, or whatever the superset is that new map is a subset of. And we say, look, this is where we're going with this. And we need help, we need development, we need all these things. In the meantime, what are we doing? We're talking about it. We're letting Brett screen share and present and talk about these different scenarios. We're all commenting on it. And in the process, we're co-creating the vision for the next generation, or 2 generations down the road, or whatever, of collective superintelligence. But in the meantime, what are we doing? Again, we've got this map of topics. You can zoom in, you can zoom out. It's just one big taxonomy that we're all working on, iterating, improving, adding to, etc. And then we have these conversations. So my idea is that, like, let's say you click on a topic that's on the topic map. that would take you to a topic page, right? So I'm just talking about stuff that's like literally immediately doable in the next couple of weeks or so, okay? Click on a topic, takes you to the topic page. There's the icon and the name of the topic. There's a definition of the topic. And then there's a list of all the conversations which include that topic, right? Like that conversation, that hypothetical conversation that draws on these 4 different topics. On each of those topic pages, that conversation would be listed, okay? So from topics, you can get to conversations. Then let's say you see a conversation that looks interesting. You click on that. Now you go from the topic page to a conversation page. The conversation page has the title, the date that it started, maybe a calendar of, maybe just explicitly, here's our next meeting and here's the link. Here's a calendar for all future meetings that are scheduled, and everyone's welcome, right? So, and then also on the conversation page, you'd see a list of, like what you see on New Map, these little round circles that have people's pictures, like Brett's, Jamin, Nolan, Emery, etc. And you would see who are the people who are participating in that conversation, right? And if you see Nolan and you're interested, who is this Nolan guy? You click on the Nolan button and it takes you to a person page. Nolan with his picture, little bio, and maybe a list of the conversations that Nolan's participating in. So fundamentally, there's the map, and then there's 3 kinds of pages: topic pages, conversation pages, people pages, right? And the kind of idea for this we hatched up in August. Actually, Jamie, who's out in Ohio, hopefully he'll be here at some point today. Jamie and I were driving down to meet Nolan in person for the first time in Southern Washington. And we're driving down I-5. And I was like, Jamie, we just need to start. We need to create a social network of actual conversations, like what we're doing right here. These conversations. We need to create a whole network of these. Gee, what should we call it? Well, let's see, social network of actual conversations. Wait a second, what acronym would that make? Social network, actual conversations, snack. So let's create Snack Bar, right? And then we met up with Nolan. Nolan loved it, and we got some domain names. And, that was whatever, 8 months ago, 7.5 months ago. And here we are. So now what I'm suggesting is, we launch Snack Bar. The homepage would have this topic map. You click a button and you see all the conversational dots. So it can have more information or less information, depending on a toggle that you click. And then you kind of zoom in and, scroll around until you find something that looks interesting, whether a topic or a conversation, and you freaking click on it and find out more. If it's a topic, you'll see a whole bunch of conversations on that topic. If it's a conversation, you'll find out about that conversation and when the next meeting is and who's there, and et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, that's an opening salvo. Emery, you got your hand up? Go for it.
Yeah, okay, so you set up that structure. You're going to be the one who has to enter the information. Now, if I go myself to that page, I'll be able to view by clicking on certain words. Okay, it'll take me to another page and see what's there, and make use of it. But I won't be able to add to it. How can I add to it? Other than leaving a comment, which may or may not be seen. I'd like you to consider, what I said previously about Wakelet, because I don't know if you've had time to make use of it or not, but it's a very, very useful tool, okay, for making collections. And collections can be conversations. And within those collections of conversations, you are able to have participants actually contribute their conversation or whatever input. It could be another video conversation, you know, or it could be a PDF. It could be all sorts of things that could be integrated into that particular participation, that particular moment in time where that individual comes to that collection, okay? And the collection, of course, has a central part to it, the main part, but it can branch off to unlimited numbers of collections, which are part of the whole, okay? So you really have to try it to get a sense of it and to use your imagination to see how your thoughts of what you're thinking about, Jamin, can be incorporated into that. Very important. And, you know, I'm not forgetting about new map, Brett, you know, we could find ways to incorporate all of that. And just imagine being able to have holons, multitude of holons of these structures of a wakelet, for instance, you know? I mean, how interesting is that?
I love the idea, Emery. I'm very, very intrigued. I think Flipgrid is part of Wakelet, if I recall correctly. And Melissa was showing me Flipgrid a couple weeks ago, and it looks super cool. So I'm all for that. And to your comment that you just made, we're just looking for some way to start, whether it's WordPress, Wakelet, you know, some combination of those. But then once we have this V0 up, and we have this space and this map and this schedule of conversations, then people can come to the conversations led by Brett or co-led by, you know, Brett and the rest of us or whatever on, okay, here's what we're using now, but let's talk, you know, next versions, new map, etc. And we co-create it in conversation. Hopefully over time, those conversations grow and developers come in and say, wow, I love this. This is so cool. Let me help out and let's do it. Anyway, Brett had his hand up, followed by Emery. I'll let you manage it, Brett.
I was just gonna say, I'll look it up. I assume there's a video. I would like to see a video of someone using Wakelet. Like literally like, or Emery, if you could, like I'd like to have somebody like as if I was over their shoulder and I get to see like them surfing through and book whatever Wakelet does. I feel like I'm sure there's probably a video on YouTube, but I have a hard time sometimes translating spoken descriptions of things like technology without seeing them in action. So I'll just look that up, but I am curious, but I need to see it in action. So I guess there's a demo. There must be a demo video or something.
I'll put you a link to to my Wakelet. Just I don't know, have a look. But there are countless numbers of accounts of pages, you know, but created by different people in organizations, you know, and groups. You can have a look at mine if you want to. I'll put it in the chat, the link.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But the best way is to just open an account and see for yourself. You know, it costs nothing, and you could see how that platform works.
Let's do it. Let's do that screen share. If there's a good YouTube video, I'm sure there must be several. I'm going to hit the bathroom real quick while you guys figure out what we need to screen share, and then I'm happy to share it, or one of you can share it. But in any case, I'll be back in a couple minutes.
I'm going to use the same thing, and I'll come back to.
Okay.
And I want to give a thought about what you're talking about, the WordPress. I'll be back.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so let's just take 2 or 3 minutes, whatever. All right, I'm back, and I'm going to be checking out the link that Emery sent. Hold on of my collections. Okay. I'm going to have to screen share that. I'll wait till folks are back. Hello, Dickwan. What? 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 See you in a little bit, Dickwan. All righty. I was just talking to the crows out there. Speaking of collective intelligence, so I'd like to, shall I screen share what you put up there, Emery? Let me go ahead and do that. So this is this Wakelet link, and it says, hold on of my collections. Sign up to Wakelet and you can revisit Emery's collection whenever you like. All right, that's good to know. So these are Brett's hold-ons. Where do we start? Sorry, Emery's hold-ons. Emery, where should we start? Maybe okay, you got a number of people here. Collective Intelligence Block Party. Let's click on that. So
it's a link. It's a link. It's basically that was just a hyperlink.
Okay.
To the right, was it? Or and now there's like other wavelets according to this to the block party page. Is that what's going on?
Apparently, yeah. Well, I don't know.
Or is it an overview? So I'm wondering if that was copy and pasted in, or if it ripped the information off the website, like when it does that.
Yeah, I don't know. Let me go back to the first page. So it was here. I clicked on that. So Emery, do you want to give us some guidance here? What should we click on? Kind of give us a little tour here.
An overview. So this is like a visual bookmarking system so far, right? I mean, that's what I would.
Yeah, it's collection. So each of these is a different collection. So let's go to the Guy McPherson collection, for example. We click on that. It opens up a new tab. And there's
then it would have,
and it's got
a yeah, it's like a visual bookmark manager so far that you can share with other people.
Yeah. All right, that looks good.
Right. So if we had videos with me and you talking about veganism, and we had articles about veganism, we could bookmark them all here, and then like on your WordPress page, we could have the sort of the wavelet link, which might be a more easy visual way for people to see or at least a complementary visualization of the info.
Yeah, totally. And one thing that's part of Wakelet, and Sweetheart, let me know if I'm correct on this. So Flipgrid is a part of Wakelet? Oh, okay. That's what I understood. I think I heard that maybe from Nolan. But
this is the kind of thing I needed. I just needed something. I didn't have a context, so this is helpful.
Hi, Brett. Hi, Emery. Hi, Nolan. Hi, Dot.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Guy McPherson.
No, that's.
I just kidding.
Okay.
How are you guys? Everybody doing good? If you're doing good, give me a thumbs up. If you're doing bad, give me a thumbs down. If you don't know, give me a thumb sideways. Awesome.
Somebody's got to be the rebel.
We love you, rebels. Yeah, so Flipgrid. I've used Flipgrid. It's really fun. I think it was created for educators. They use it in high school a lot with students, probably middle school. And it's real visual. And I've actually set up a Flipgrid. Maybe we could share mine. But what you do is you do recordings that I think can go up to like 1 minute, or maybe it's 3 minutes.
Just show us. It'd be better, yeah, if you got it.
I have to find it and all that.
Okay.
So another time, like yeah.
Okay, well, in the meantime, why don't I just go on YouTube and look for Wakelet Flipgrid demos and just see what comes up.
I'm just going to talk for a sec while you do that, Jamin.
Please, Brett. Yeah.
I'm going to have to check out soon, and hopefully I'll come back. So as far as the WordPress site, Jamin, I'm real big on, like, let's go for it. Like, you have a clear idea of something. I always believe in version 0 of something compared to nothing. So I will throw my hat into the ring to say I'm ready to contribute and help the cause in a few different ways. One, I like to edit documents. I like to write short copy. I like to organize things. I don't like building WordPress sites. So I'm not going to be the one. I won't be able to help actually build the WordPress or find the plugins and stuff. That some other people we have to find, or some of you. But I will be more than happy to help you either with the taxonomy of it, or categorizing, or thinking about how to do that, and actual inputting of data, or I'll put conversations. I'll do bookmarking, but I just don't want to do any kind of website development side. So that's out there. That's my offer. I'll do it anytime. Like, I don't know. I could probably get a lot done even just 1 hour a week, 2 hours by contributing, knowing what to contribute. I'm sure I can. That's a help, and that I'm down for that. I just want to put it out there, and I would advise a few people to just, like you're saying, Jamie, when you feel confident that it's like a website to start, maybe using some of whatever it is, just make the decision and, like, let's do it. As far as what I would want to do it, like, I want to see it. I want to have the experience of what you're saying, and maybe we start slow so we can change it quick if it's not working. But let's get that page, person, whatever, like you said. What does it look like? Is it just, I don't care. We can get old videos of the block party. Some of us could have videos related to our projects that we can use. I mean, just to start filling up the data a little bit so we get a sense of what does it look like when you come to that. So I'm down for that, and just let me know.
Love it, Brett. You're totally speaking my language, and I'm exactly the same spirit here. Let's start. If it's simple, great. Simple is good. But let's just.
And if I knew how to do WordPress quickly, if I was an expert, I would 100% do it for us. Like, I just don't know. It means I have to relearn it, and I don't remember. That's just going to take way too much of my energy.
No, don't worry about that. Let's all focus on our highest and best use.
Yeah.
We've got other folks we can tap to do the WordPress build out.
Cool.
But part of my vision for how we can actually get this thing started, and Nolan and I were talking about this on an interview we did with Sailesh on Wednesday on his climate healers. Corona healers efforts, but we could start it out so simple. So here's like a and I want to get to the Wakelet stuff, but since we're on this topic, here's kind of my idea for how we can start out simple. Suppose we start with the 25 topics on the topic map, just for starters, and that's all we got. And so we got a WordPress page, and there are these 25 different icons, and you can click on any one of them, and that's it. You click on one, and there are conversations on that topic, period. So we don't even try to do conversations as mashups of different topics. We save that for the next version, and we can do it a version every couple of weeks. So this can happen very quickly. But for starters, what's the minimum viable product? Imagine just simple. For each one of those topics, there's a conversation. Now, during the block party and the solution club, we have 32 hours during which we can record individual chunked out 15-minute, 20-minute, 30-minute conversations on a given topic. And fortunately, Zoom allows you to stop recording and start recording that becomes a new MP4 file for a new YouTube video. So that's super facilitated. And like we could literally take that map and go one by one and have a 10-minute video conversation on each one. And that's our starter conversation, period. Right? You click on a topic, here's this conversation. Once we're 3 weeks in, maybe we've had 6 conversations on that topic. Fine, here they are, as well as the schedule of upcoming conversations on that topic. And here's how we schedule it out. We take the existing 24-hour block party, the existing 8-hour solution club, and slice it up. And there's our schedule. And we stick to the schedule. And we have these conversations. They may not be the most brilliant conversations in the world, and the right people may not be there. In fact, they probably won't be there, right? But so what? It's a demo. We're just showing the concept, right? Melissa's got something to share. You know what would be more powerful, sweetheart? Yeah. If it's possible and if you're willing.
Yeah.
Is that you actually sign on to your Wakelet account on this computer, and then I can screen share it rather than try to hold up your laptop to the camera, and then we end up burning people's retinas with sun reflection. Okay, but in the meantime, may I continue with this? Okay, and then that way, there's periodicity and it's predictable. It's like people will see, hey, if I want to be on this conversation on hunger, I know to show up at the block party on Friday at 2:30 p.m. and then the next one after that is the Solution Club on Tuesday at 4:10 p.m. Whatever, right? 4:20 might be better. And then voila, there it is. There's the calendar. So each topic is its own little thing, and it's got its own calendar, and it's got its sequence of recorded videos. I call it a series of conversations. And voila, all right? And then maybe the next thing we add on is sort of like the people piece, right? Where just like the About Us page on Radish, it's just got a picture and a blurb on everyone who's participating in these conversations who wants to have their face and blurb up there on the people page, right? And then the next step could be a very simple step of, okay, for each conversation, let's just make a list of who the people are in that conversation, period, right? And then you can kind of click on a person. Oh, Brett looks interesting. Let me click on him. Oh, he's in these conversations. Great. Let me click on this one and listen to Brett in action talking about this topic that I'm interested in. But simple, simple, simple. We start with one page, all these topics, each one's clickable. You click on it, takes you to a topic page. So we'd have 25 topic pages, no problem. Put a description up there for each. Let Brett let you edit those, right? Because that's the text part. And I'll focus on scheduling each and every one of those topics into each and every meeting, block party and solution club. So twice a week, minimum, we have new fresh recordings on each of those topics. Okay, Melissa just sent me a link. And did you find your login and password and whatnot? Well, I'm not signed into anything actually, but I'll go ahead and click on it.
I'm giving you permission to enter my Flipgrid. So
okay.
I believe if you click on that, you will be in.
Okay.
It's a trial.
Okay, fair enough, sweetheart. I'm going to, anyway, feel free to talk while I'm pulling this thing up. And Melissa sent us a link with her Flipgrid. So we can check that.
Say Art Lab Creative Plan.
Okay.
Hey everyone, so my dad's on his way back here, and I would like to spend some time with him while he's in town. So I'm gonna split off here, but Jamin, maybe we can communicate outside of Zoom and figure out when, if you're gonna want a break, a nap, and we'll work it out.
Yeah, sounds great. Let's just communicate via text message message in the meantime, and we'll get it all sorted out. No problem. And best to your dad. Look forward to seeing him, and we'll talk soon. Enjoy. See you, Nolan.
All right. Thank you. See you guys.
See you soon.
Have fun.
All right. And sweetheart, when I click on the link that you sent, it takes me to a thing that says Flipgrid Art Lab Creative Fun by Melissa Koch. But for me to go any further than this big purple screen, it says enter user ID / username or scan QR code. And I have none of the above, so I can't go any further. But let me, oh, you'll give me the code. Okay, so Melissa's gonna give me a code. Okay, wait a second. Let me just bear with me while I sign into Melissa's thing. Okay. If any of this is secret, let me know so I can.
Yes, it is.
Okay, I'm gonna. Okay, wait a second. I'm gonna mute. I'm gonna mute. I'll be right back, everyone. I'm just logging in here. Okay, the Melissa's link is not working, so we're going to take that offline, and maybe on Tuesday we can share that. But in the meantime, let me go ahead and share, unless you can debug it first, sweetheart. But anyway, in the meantime, I'm going to share something. Let me share a YouTube video. And let's just get a little introduction to this whole Flipgrid thing. Adding a Flipgrid video Wakelet series. So there's a series on Wakelet. Where do we start? Well, let me just start with this one and see what it looks like. 3-minute video. Let's see here. And I'm not hearing any sound on this, so I don't know. Okay, this looks like we're probably need to start with something more basic.
You want to just research it together later and then
I definitely do. And in the meantime, I also want to just scan through these videos that we have here right now. Let's see. And just
So Flipgrid was essentially a way to record videos and share them for like usually educational purposes. Is that what that mean?
Melissa's going to come talk
Okay.
about it. Or I guess you could just hold up your laptop.
Yeah,
and
I can show. It's easiest. I'm sorry, I can't access this particular one. I can share with you this way. It's a remote. So here's Flipgrid. I was in something called the Teaching Artist Training Lab. This is their introduction. Here they've set up a place where you can comment. It says, well, actually, this is the wrong one. Sorry, let me get you the other one. Excuse me. I've got so many of those. Okay, here we go. So they've set up, you can see study hall. I don't remember what these are. TATLab, Share Space, Wows and Wonders. And you can click on any of those and you can interact with different topics and different conversations. And part of that is typing in information and part of that's recording. So I'll show you the recorded one. So I think it's this one. So you can see here, I clicked on the TATLab Share Space. Takes us here. Scroll down and here are some recordings that people will have made. So let's play one of those. This is one of the students. Then she's made a recording. Cat's making sweet biscuits on it. So she's sharing that, and then people could comment on what she's saying. And you can build conversation through these quick videos.
And that interacts with Wakelet in a specific way.
I don't know about the Wakelet. We didn't use that.
So it seems like that would be a possible complementary tool where if someone sees a conversation that they like, they could record a one-person video as a response, because some people like to hear things, and then there could be a thread instead of an old-fashioned forum all the time.
Exactly. So
yeah, if you could integrate or have a link to Flipgrid somehow with that WordPress site, that could work. Yeah. And then Wakelet should be able to create collections of all those different contributions into categories.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to click on me here. Okay, these are our, we had to look at people's work and comment. So this is me.
My wow is how much I've learned in TATLab. Thank you all. I feel so much richer.
That was me, but I'm trying to find the one where people commented on each other's, because that was really excellent. You can see here, it's got topics, so you can click on that. All right, it's hard doing it this way. And then we've got a list of topics that you can enter. Let's see if I can find the other where we're commenting on each other's work. Oh yeah, here we go. Okay, here's mine right here. So I will have said something and then the 3 people jumped in and commented. So I'll click on that so you can see what happened.
Hi everybody, Melissa here. I'm in my studio and I have been doing the reading that we were assigned, and I would like to
I'm going to click on her comment on my film.
Hi Melissa, it's Rachel. I just wanted to say that I love all the art that you do with your students. I want to be one of your students so bad. Every time we chat on the Greenhouse Club chat, you're always doing something amazing. So I really love to just.
Hi Melissa. Oops, it's not that. This is Meredith, and I don't like seeing myself in selfie videos.
So these people all commented on my little video clip.
Where's my scroll? Because I was inspired by your.
It's really dark where I am, so I'm just acknowledging that. But I liked the fact that your students were allowed to experiment with different plastics and surfaces, and I really enjoy the fact that they can fail and they can understand the process of trial and error, failing, and starting over again.
Okay.
Finding something new.
So that's just a quick demo of how we used it. And you can see there's a whole menu bar of different people's recordings, and then you can jump in and comment, which I just took you through.
And if you don't mind holding that up on the screen for a minute, sweetheart, thank you. This is really beautiful, because here's what occurs to me, and Emery, I know you've had your hand up for a couple of minutes, is imagine back to the topic map. We've got the topics. You click on a topic, it takes you to a topic page. On that topic page are all the previous recordings, all the previous conversations that we've had as a group on that topic. And then check this out. Separate from that, we can have, like, you scroll down, you say, okay, that's all great. You scroll down and then you see this situation. And it's basically all the members who are participating. They've all got Flipgrid accounts. It's free.
Mhm.
And then people can then do short 1-minute videos. Let's say it's capped at 1 minute. I think that'd be ideal. Of people saying, hey, I saw this conversation. I wasn't able to participate in it, but I watched the video and here's what I think. And what do you think? And then just like what Melissa showed, people can respond to their comments with videos of their own and so on. And I think that would just be a really beautiful add-on. And it's a way for people to interact and talk with each other about the topic in between these big meetings that we have. Anyway, that's my comment on that. Emery, you've been very patient. Thanks for your patience. Go for it, Emery.
Thanks, Jamin. All I wanted to say was that Flipgrid and Wakelet are two separate entities. Now, Wakelet just so happens to be able to incorporate Flipgrid within their platform. So, but what I was saying initially was that Wakelet itself has an abundant amount of tools which override the Flipgrid edition, okay? Because within the tools provided by Wakelet are, you can connect any kind of a link, you can connect any kind of a PDF. Within a PDF, you can incorporate any kind of a video communication. You've got text. It's just incredible, I mean, you incorporate the tools and you build, you can add into what you're building within your collection a Flipgrid. That's when you can bring in Flipgrid if you want. It's your choice. If you've got something that's apropos, you bring in a Flipgrid comment or Flipgrid account from somebody who's got some contribution there. And it's you're creating that, and anybody who comes along could have the opportunity to log in when they like there's a code. You can give them a code. There's a code that can be communicated. Okay, if you want people's participation at any given time, it's not real time. It's not in real time, but it could be set up and managed to occur in real time if you want to plan it out that way. You know what I mean?
Beautiful. So here's kind of where I'm getting to in terms of a synthesis is we start with a basic WordPress page with the topic map. You click on a topic and maybe that takes you to a Wakelet collection on that topic, including all the videos and calendar. I don't know. We'll have to play with it and just kind of see what makes sense. But of all the things I've seen so far, I like what you're saying, Emery, about Wakelet being able to upload any kind of artifact, any kind of document or video or anything. Yeah. Total flexibility. Love that. And so, because then, I mean, kind of what's coming to me is on a given topic, we have these regular meetings, and in between meetings, people are commenting, uploading stuff, posting Flipgrid videos, etc., commenting on each other's videos, and so on. And at the risk of complicating further, one thing I'd like to add in there is that for each of these topics, there's currently 25 on the topic map that I was sharing. For each of those topics, we create a Reddit thread and post it there. So that becomes another place where people can comment and interact on that topic in between these video conference meetings. So anyway, those are, yeah, go ahead, Emery. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, listen, Jamin, I mean, the expansion of that is endless, okay? And it doesn't have to be a Flipgrid video. It could be any kind of a video. You know, I mean, it just so happens that, okay, it's there, it's convenient, but, you know, you could decide, well, I'm going to record my video on YouTube, and I'll have it on unlisted, and I'm gonna link that into the collection. It doesn't have to be a Flipgrid. A Flipgrid is limited time. Okay, it has like 3 minutes. You could do your communication into a YouTube video, and because listen, before on YouTube you were able to communicate with video. Okay, they took that away. All right. In the beginning, it was nice. You could leave a video comment or something. Now they don't allow. You can't do it. So what I'm saying is you can create those videos and put it into a collection of someone else's or yours or whatever you want to present, whatever you want to create and share. And you could share that to a social platform. You could share it to a, you know, what Brett's doing. You could share that to WordPress, whatever. The sky's the limit here. But the tools, what I like about the Wakelet thing is you got all the tools there to be able to construct something that is meaningful, something that is powerful, okay? And there you got that nugget, and you're gonna put that nugget, where it's gonna be best appropriate.
I love it, Emery. Love everything you're saying. I totally dig it. The only thing I like, well, the thing I like about Flipgrid is number one, the concision, but also that beautiful interface.
Yeah, such a great way to interact.
Yeah, as Melissa said, such a great way to interact because so more on kind of I love Brett's word thoughtware. Right now we're developing thoughtware before we develop the software to express those thoughts in a more tangible form. But on a thoughtware level, again, we got the topic map. Each topic has a page. Each topic page has a series of conversations. It's got the Wakelet stuff. And the people who are creating the data and operating on the data and having the conversations, we are, at this point, a relatively small community and a relatively stable community and a committed community. And I would say then I think it would be fair to ask all of us, our community, to create a Wakelet account, and that becomes essentially the social networking piece of it. Yeah, that's the social network right there, Wakelet. And since they've got Flipgrid integrated with Wakelet, that I presume that would make it that much easier to for people to add their Flipgrid videos and comment on each other's videos, basically in between these big meetings. The big meetings are where the action happens, right? That's where the collective intelligence really gets manifested in this real-time back and forth. But then in between those, you got short Flipgrid videos and people popping on whatever they want. But here's the bottom line. So we have a limited set of topics, a limited set of conversations, and a limited set of people. And so we essentially create kind of like, I'm going to use the analogy of the game Monopoly. We create a Monopoly board that's bounded, simple, limited number of players, and we all start playing. How do we play? we show up and participate in conversations like this one that are recorded and published. We participate in between with Wakelet comments and uploads and Flipgrid short videos. And then in addition, there's a Reddit thread for each one that we participate in. And one of the really cool things about that is this then opens it up, at least gives access to the rest of the Reddit community to come participate in these conversations and see that we have live video conferences on a regular basis on these various topics. Yes, Emery.
I think you have to keep in mind that you're going to have different objectives. Okay, you're going to have different goals, different things you want to accomplish. Okay, and each one of these will factor towards how you're going to create, what you're going to create. Okay, with what collection. This collection is going to be geared for that. Another collection is going to be geared for something else again and again. It's a multitude of collections, and those involved, those of us who are ultimately involved, okay, with our accounts, we together can be a collection within a created collection, another collection, like a Nolan, like a holon, okay? It's like a holon except it's square, okay? Brett.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah, I'm just saying that it'd be like a holon, but it's square. You know what I mean?
Holons don't have to be circles anyway. Holon just means whole in part simultaneously.
That's it. That's it. That's the way I'm looking at that Wakelet, because it's easy. Number one factor, okay, for consideration is that it's easy. It's easy to use. It's simple to use. I've had, I'm not a tech guy, okay, but I found it's easy to use. Simple. I mean, I've got a WordPress. I don't find it that easy to use. To tell you honestly, it's complicated to manage and everything. You have to have all these plugins. It's endless. Yeah, I don't know. It's okay. It's okay if to be able to be recognized by Google. Yes. Okay. If you get something on your WordPress, it'll be picked up by the bots and everything. But it's not to say that Wakelet won't be picked up. I mean, I've done things on Wakelet. If I do a Google search, it'll pop up. It'll show up. So on a larger scale, once you begin to integrate what the efforts and what you've created, your creations, once you start that rolling, okay, it'll be picked up. It's not going to happen overnight, but once everybody contributes and puts their adds to it, it's going to be more and more powerful. Start somewhere.
I'm gonna use my own bootstrapping selfish needs. I'm gonna go to Wakelet and see if I can create an expression for our project, because I didn't know you can add PDFs and all sorts of stuff. So I'll use it. I'll just try it in that vein because it's good for my team if I can do something, and then that will help me understand how it actually works and how it can benefit everyone. I mean, the super collective intelligence, but it gives me the sort of natural inborn oomph to learn something new, which I admit, like everyone else, sometimes feels a little bit overwhelming.
Yeah, totally. And that's, that's part of the challenge of this moment in history, is just this endless stream of different web services, and which one do you invest in. But Um, I and this is yet one of the cool things about the block party, because we've been talking about these different platforms on block party meetings, and it feels like we're finally starting to converge, right? We're like a bunch of monkeys. I think we should go to that patch of coconut trees over there. Others are saying, no, the banana patch over there. You know, and we're just kind of monkeying it out. I'm Year of the Monkey, so I can talk about monkeys like that. We monkey it out until we basically say, okay, we got consensus, let's go. And it's feeling like we're getting consensus to check out the freaking Wakelet and Flipgrid combo. So what's coming to me is, we use WordPress for what it's good for. We create the home page exactly as we want it. We've got about us and all this stuff. And we build that out for Snackbar, which is actually snack.bar. .bar is the extension. So we got the topic map. You click on it. When you go to a topic page, that's where we'll insert the Wakelet and Flipgrid stuff, and we'll figure out how to configure that appropriately. Nolan's very good at WordPress. So is Michael Gaio, who will probably be on later today.
I'd like to add something when you're done.
Please, sweetheart, go right ahead.
Yeah. So the other thing I just wanted to add is that it's so important for us to enter a space of playfulness. We're all work, you know, and this is all heavy stuff and serious and challenging times, and we want to make a difference. But I think to balance all of that, it's really important to do playful things together. And that's why I like Flipgrid, is because it's kind, it's collaborative, it's creative, and it's playful. And a lot of invention can come out of playfulness and creativity. And so I think any tools that can balance this other kind of more yang approach or male approach, I think could be really useful. And make it fun. We've got a lot of time now. We don't know what the end zone looks like. So I think that's really important. It's like taking walks, you know, those are really important to do to air ourselves, you know, and connect with nature. So I just wanted to add that.
Beautiful. Love it. Yeah, I really love what I've seen on Flipgrid. I mean, it looks just like, wow, so cool. And when Melissa was doing her Tat Lab training, she'd show me these videos, and it just nails it. So the fact that Wakelet and Flipgrid are integratable, easily integratable, is super cool. In fact, what's occurring to me is, yeah, go ahead, Emily. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You can't bring Wakelet into Flipgrid, but you can bring Flipgrid into Wakelet. It goes one direction very well, doesn't go back the other way.
Perfect. Great to know. Great to know. So we'll basically use Wakelet as our, you know, our backbone, so to speak, for both uploading stuff. It essentially becomes a glorified discussion forum, is how I'm kind of thinking about it, within each topic, right? And another advantage of Wakelet actually is that people could branch off and create subtopics, Wakelet style, and say, hey, here's Emery's collection on this topic. Check it out, right? Somebody clicks, checks it out. Well, that's interesting. And therein there might be a video, a Flipgrid video that Emery has uploaded, and says, hey, please comment on this. Love to hear your thoughts. So, you know, let's play with it is the bottom line. I think we've got a really good starting point here.
And it's not to say Zoom is chopped liver now. You know, Zoom we got a big piece of the pie here on Zoom, right? But there's a way of putting the Zoom into Wakelet as well.
Exactly. Yeah. So for me, the mental model is WordPress is our big container, homepage map, etc. It's also our container for individual topic pages. But within those topic pages, that's where you see, in addition to recorded Zoom meetings and calendars of future Zoom meetings, you see all this Wakelet stuff and Flipgrid stuff. Go ahead, Emery.
Yeah, and then you live stream. Then you live stream it to Facebook. God, you have to incorporate everything you can. I mean, you could, Brett, you did a fabulous job on your live stream there on Sunday. You know, I mean, it was amazing. And that was incorporating the Zoom, right? And Facebook together. You brought them together, right? It was good. I mean, the communication, the chat thing may not be as efficient as one may want, you know, because you have to spread yourself pretty thin, right? But when you're engaged on the Zoom with multiple personalities there, that's fine, and you're live streaming. But you could also live stream other things because you can share the screen, and once you share the screen, you have a far reach. You have a very far reach once you start sharing the screen, because then you bring in the Wakelet, then you bring in the Flipgrid. You could bring in all sorts of things at that moment, right?
The Wakelet's pretty cool. I'm checking it out as we're on. It's kind of like a real-time wiki in a way, because you have all these resources on that topic, and there's different views, so you can view the obviously like a grid or single line, and that Flipgrid works in a second. You can just start popping in response. People will just basically start popping in responses because you just click the button, and
Yeah,
if you
it's
can
very,
give privileges, I guess, to other people's, I don't know how that works, but on my own Wakelet, I can just hit the button that says add Flipgrid, and it brings up the actual, I signed up for Flipgrid in a second through that, and there I am. I'm able to basically comment in that stream if I want to. That's pretty cool.
yeah, it's very robust.
All right, well, the pack of monkeys is now converging on, feels like to me, topic map, WordPress, pages for each topic, scheduled Zoom meetings with their resulting YouTube videos, and loaded up with Wakelet and Flipgrid within each topic page. And voila, there's your social network, there's your commenting, there's your quick video back and forth, which makes it fun per Melissa. And the Flipgrid interface with people's videos and squares and all that, it just screams romper room playtime. Let's get together and play together, right?
And the other thing is you can create.
You want to come say it to everyone, sweetheart?
The other thing is you can create like a bulletin board where people can drop in resources, other links, other conversations, so you can share information, which you and I have talked about extensively, the importance of that. So that's a really great tool. The kids who've used it, does that mean you're a happy
He's
banana?
giving a thumbs up. It's a big thumbs up.
You're reminding me, Emery, that with the kids, I play a game that Michael Gaio introduced where you take a food that you just ate and you combine it with the mood you're in. So banana, yesterday I was happy banana, and that's your quarantine name. So the other thing you can do is like, there are other tools. I haven't explored that yet, but there's stickers and there are ways of building conversations using visual icons, as well as typing in text, as well as the video recordings.
Cool. Well, in about 12 minutes, we've got the Divine Feminine segment. I don't know if you've coordinated with Jackie and Myra on that. Okay. And then so we'll shift gears to the Divine Feminine in a few minutes here, and then that'll go for 2 hours, followed by Dr. Sailesh Rao will be joining us for another 2-hour period after that on how not to go extinct. And And then we'll be carrying on from there. I think we'll probably have Michael Gaio on in the afternoon. But anyway, in between, I may get up on Wakelet and start working on this. It looks like, Brett, you're diving in, which is awesome. And yeah, let's get this all dialed in. And then my idea is that's when, Block Party then starts to have serious connection with Snack Bar. Snack Bar, essentially, it's a menu, right? Just like you walk up to a snack bar, all right, you got corn dogs, you got slushies, you got French fries. It's a menu. You're like, great, you're drawn in. So Snack Bar will draw people in. She'll look, we're talking about all these different topics. What are you interested in? We'll click on it and bam, here's this beautiful playground with great people zinging back and forth with 1-minute videos. And then every few days we have a meeting and everyone's welcome to join. I mean, what could be cooler? That's it. That is your soup starter for collective superintelligence. Your cup of noodles in a single-use styrofoam cup. What could be better, except for the styrofoam? All right, we got... Okay. Anyway, I'm just being playful here. Welcome, climate healers. I don't know if that's Sailesh or Ray or who we got there, but whoever you are, welcome. And we're just talking about kind of how we're going to build out Snack Bar as kind of a first interface for this whole thing. Because what that's going to do, I believe, is it's really going to open up the Block Party to a lot more people who are interested in specific topics. And now they'll know when to plug in. Hey, if I want to talk about this topic, I know to show up at this time, right? And then I'm a part of it. And then, of course, once they start participating in conversations, they can get into Wakelet and Flipgrid and participate more and invite their friends. And, of course, among the many conversations we'll be having, we have new map conversations that basically say, look, all this topic map, Wakelet, Flipgrid, this is all great for starters. And let's build from here, and here's where we're building to. There's this new map vision. And Brett, at this thoughtware level, not software, but thoughtware, you can show the software you got and express your thoughts as to where we need to go from here. And that way you take us all along with you. So.
I have to run. It's 5 here, and we've got to do our weekly, I think, shop at the right hour, hopefully, to get in and out of the store. It's kind of wacky around here with the way that all is happening. So it's great to see everybody. Great to be part of the conversation. Love you all very, very much, and see if I can tune back in later. If not, have a good another 15 hours, 17 hours.
Actually, 21 more hours to go. Only
21. Not so bad. And have a great time with Sailesh. So take care, everybody.
Drop in later.
Great to see you, Brett. Love you, bro. Great stuff.
Bye.
Look forward to seeing you soon. All righty. James, great to see you. I know you've been listening in. Love to hear your thoughts on all of this. Whenever it's good for you, no hurry. I'm still not, it's Ray. Ray is our climate healers guy. Welcome, Ray. Welcome back. We're talking about WordPress and Wakelet and Flipgrid and how to incorporate it all together to build out Snack Bar as kind of the interface to all these meetings, not just these that we're having on Block Party and Solution Club, but all the meetings, including all the vegan meetings that want to be up there that are publicly available and all that. James, were you waiting to comment? Love to hear from you. If you are, otherwise, no, certainly no hurry.
No, you're grand. Carry on, Jamin. I was just engrossed in all what was being said. You know what I mean? I'm not too tech savvy myself, so I was just listening and engrossed in it. So carry on.
Okay, wonderful. And that's actually a super valuable thing. Just you're listening and taking it all in and being, part of the hive mind is super cool. All right, we're 7 minutes away from the top of the hour. Did you talk with Jackie?
They're on. They're just getting ready.
They're getting ready. Okay, good. So we'll have the Divine Feminine starting in a few minutes. And how are the crows doing, sweetheart?
Everybody's super happy. We've got the rabbit, the crows, the squirrels, the chipmunks. Everybody's having a party. All the
Cool.
little birdies.
Awesome.
It's really cute.
I'm just going to go grab a cup of tea before that starts on it.
Oh, me too.
Perfect. Good idea. In fact, so we have just kind of like maybe a little pause. I'll pause recording. Yeah, I'll pause recording, but we're all here just kind of hanging for the next few minutes until the top of the hour.